Have you ever noticed that changing your life feels suspiciously like trying to download a 4K movie using a dial-up connection from 1996? You've got the vision, the Pinterest board, and you've spent $45 on a journal that smells like sandalwood and broken promises. And yet, here you are, still in the same room, with the same bank account, feeling the same low-grade existential dread. The self-help industry tells you that the problem is your vibes. They say you just need more positive thinking. But if thoughts alone could change reality, every person who's ever bought a lottery ticket would be retired in the Maldives by now. Today, we're putting the crystals away and looking at the cold, hard psychology of why your reality refuses to budge. We're going to talk about why your brain is actually allergic to the success you say you want. But before we dive into the why, there is one specific mental trap that 99% of people fall into when they try to manifest change. A trap so subtle that you're probably doing it right now as you watch this. I'll reveal exactly what that is and how to flip the switch near the end of this video. But first, we need to talk about your internal thermostat. To understand why you're stuck, you first have to understand that your brain does not care about your happiness. It cares about your survival. And in the eyes of your primitive brain, survival equals familiarity. Psychologists call this homeostasis. Think of it like a reality thermostat. If you've spent the last 10 years feeling stressed, broke, or overlooked, your brain has set that as the comfortable temperature. You might hate being broke, but your brain loves it because it knows how to survive being broke. It knows which ramen flavor is the least depressing. The moment you start thinking positively, your internal thermostat freaks out. It smells smoke. It thinks, wait, we aren't supposed to be happy. This is dangerous. Someone turn the AC on. This is why the power of positive thinking often fails. You are trying to paint a house that is currently on fire. The paint looks nice for 5 minutes, but the structural heat of your subconscious beliefs will eventually melt it right off. Now, you might think the solution is just more willpower. Spoiler alert, it's not. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you a 30-second physiological trick that actually tricks this thermostat into accepting a new reality without the mental burnout. But first, let's look at the machine running your life. Here is a fun, slightly depressing fact. Your conscious mind, the part of you that is watching this video and thinking, yeah, I should really start that gym habit, only accounts for about 5% of your brain's processing power. The other 95% is the subconscious. It's the machine. It handles your breathing, your heartbeat, and your deeply held belief that you aren't good enough for a promotion. When you try to use positive thinking, you are essentially a tiny 5-year-old trying to steer a 20-ton freight train by whispering, "I am wealthy," at the engine. The train doesn't hear you. The train has been on these same tracks for 20 years. It has a schedule to keep. Most people fail to change their reality because they focus entirely on content, thoughts, rather than context, identity. If your context is that you are a person who struggles, then every positive thought will be filtered through the lens of struggle. This leads to a phenomenon called the affirmation backfire. If you've ever felt worse after saying a positive affirmation, there is a biological reason for that, and if you don't fix it, you're actually training your brain to trust you less. I'll explain how to fix your internal credibility in a moment. Let's get into the neurobiology. Every time you think a thought, you fire a specific set of neurons. Do it enough times, and those neurons form a superhighway, known as long-term potentiation. By the time you're 35, your personality is essentially a set of memorized behaviors. When you try to change, you are trying to prune old neural pathways and grow new ones. This requires a massive amount of metabolic energy. This is why the first week of any change feels like the dark night of the soul. You're not just fighting your schedule, you're fighting your own chemistry. You're addicted to your own stress hormones. If you've spent years being a victim, your body has become addicted to the rush of cortisol that comes with complaining. When you try to be positive, your body actually goes into withdrawal. You feel itchy. You feel fake. This is the exact moment where 90% of people quit. They think they are failing, but they are actually right on the verge of a neuro breakthrough. I'm going to give you the 3-day rule at the end of this video that will tell you exactly when your brain is finally surrendering to the new you. So, how do we actually shift? First, we move from affirmations to inquiries. Instead of telling yourself, "I am rich," ask your brain, "How would a person who values abundance spend their morning?" This engages the reticular activating system, RRAS. Your RAS is the filter of your brain. By asking questions, you force your brain to scan the environment for solutions rather than limitations. Second, we have to use small wins to bypass the reality thermostat. Don't try to change your whole life on a Monday morning. Your brain will see that as a threat and shut you down. Change 1% of your day. If you want to be a writer, write one sentence, not a book. One sentence. Your brain won't freak out over one sentence. It thinks, "Oh, that's just a weird little thing we're doing now. No big deal." By the time the brain realizes you've changed, the new neural pathway is already paved. You've successfully performed a silent coup on your own subconscious. Finally, you have to accept that your reality is just a feedback loop of your past. Most people wake up and look at their bank account or their reflection and think, "This is who I am." No, that is who you were. What you see today is the after-image of your thoughts and actions from 6 months ago. If you want a different reality in 6 months, you have to start reacting to the life you want, not the life you have. Remember that 30-second trick? It's called physiological splicing. Instead of just thinking a thought, you must couple it with a physical anchor, a sharp exhale or a specific movement, to signal to the nervous system that this thought is a command, not a wish. This stops the affirmation backfire because you're involving the body, not just the 5% conscious mind. And that mental trap I mentioned at the start, it's waiting for evidence. Most people wait for their reality to change before they feel successful. But biology works backwards. You have to chemically rehearse the success until your brain thinks it has already happened. Only then does the thermostat reset. Finally, the 3-day rule. When you start a major shift, day 3 is usually when the withdrawal is highest. If you can make it past the 72-hour mark of feeling fake, your brain begins the process of myelination, insulating the new neural tracks. Changing your reality isn't a magic wand. It's a gritty, psychological war of attrition. You have to be more stubborn than your neural pathways. So, stop yelling at the freight train, start laying new tracks. And please, throw away that sandalwood journal. It's clearly not working. If this deep dive into the brain meat of reality helped you, hit the like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm that you're a person of high intellect and impeccable taste. I'll see you in the next one.